Japan has the highest concentration of people over 100 on the planet, not because of expensive supplements, not because of genetic luck, because of 6 simple movements, most of them taking under 2 minutes, that Japanese elders have woven into their daily routine for generations. And when researchers finally started studying these movements through the lens of modern geriatric medicine, what they found genuinely surprised the scientific community. These aren't just stretches. Each one targets a specific biological mechanism that drives physical decline after 60 and can reverse it. I'm going to walk you through all 6 today, and I'll tell you right now, movement number 3 is the one most of my patients had never heard of, and it may be the most powerful of them all. Here at Healthoni, we take research from clinical medicine and translate it into movements and habits that actually work in the real world, not just in a lab. As a pharmacist with years of clinical experience, I've watched patients spend thousands on interventions that did less for their independence than a 5-minute daily movement practice could have. So let's change that today. Before we get to number 1, and trust me, you'll want to stay for it, because it's the movement linked to measurable increases in brain volume in adults over 65. Drop a comment right now telling me which part of your body do you most want to move more freely. We read every single one. Japan's Okinawa region has been studied obsessively by longevity researchers for decades. What they kept finding wasn't a diet secret or a medical breakthrough. It was movement. Low intensity, functional, performed daily without the concept of going to the gym. A 2022 analysis published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that older Japanese adults who maintained daily functional movement routines had 34% lower rates of mobility-related disability compared to age-matched Western counterparts. 34%. That's not a rounding error. That's a completely different trajectory of aging. Here are the 6 movements behind that number.
Movement number 6, grounding squat. In Japanese martial arts and daily life, elders lower themselves into a wide, shallow squat and simply hold it, sometimes while having a conversation, sometimes while gardening. In Western medicine, we've started calling this hip mobility loading, and the research backing it is striking. A 2021 study in Geriatrics and Gerontology International found that adults over 65 who could hold a low squat position for 30 seconds had significantly better balance scores, faster gait speed, and lower fall risk than those who could not, regardless of their overall fitness level. Your hip flexors, glutes, inner thighs, and ankle stabilizers are all being loaded simultaneously. This is the closest thing to a full lower body reset that exists. How to perform it? Stand with feet slightly wider than shoulder width, toes angled out at 30 to 45 degrees. Slowly lower yourself as if sitting back into a low chair. Go only as comfortable. Even a quarter squat has benefit. Hold for 10 to 30 seconds. Rise slowly. That's 1 set. If balance is a concern, hold lightly onto a chair or countertop. The goal is time in the position, not depth. Start with 10 seconds once daily. Work toward 30 seconds over 2 weeks. But here's what's interesting. Movement number 5 looks almost effortless, and yet it targets the one muscle group that predicts independence a decade from now better than almost any lab test your doctor can run.
Movement 5. Heel-to-toe tandem walking. Ashifumi. Japanese elders practice this walking pattern as part of morning temple rituals and courtyard movement. To an outsider, it looks ceremonial. To a geriatric researcher, it looks like genius. Heel-to-toe tandem walking, placing one foot directly in front of the other as if walking a tightrope, is now used in clinical settings as a fall risk assessment tool because it's that reliable a predictor of balance function. But what most people don't know is that practicing it reverses the decline it measures. A study in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that just 6 weeks of daily tandem walking practice improved vestibular function, your inner ear balance system, and reduced sway during standing by over 20% in adults aged 65 to 80. Your brain is building new neural pathways every single time you do this, at any age. How to perform it. Find a hallway or open floor space. Walk heel to toe for 10 steps forward, then carefully turn and return. Eyes forward, not down at your feet. This is critical because looking down removes the vestibular challenge. Use a wall alongside you for safety if needed. Do 2 lengths daily, about 20 steps total. It takes under 60 seconds. Now we're getting into the movements most Western exercise programs completely ignore, and movement 4 is one that clinical pharmacists like myself see make a dramatic difference in patients over 70.
Movement 4. Wall-supported shoulder circles, kata mawashi. Here's something that doesn't get discussed enough in senior health content. Shoulder mobility directly affects breathing capacity, posture, and your ability to get up from the floor, one of the single most important functional skills for maintaining independence. Japanese elders perform slow, deliberate shoulder circles as part of morning routines, often called radio taiso, a movement ritual broadcast on Japanese radio that over 3 million people over 65 participate in daily. A 2020 study in the Journal of Physical Therapy Science found that regular shoulder mobility exercises in older adults improved respiratory muscle function, thoracic spine mobility, and balance simultaneously because of how interconnected the shoulder girdle is with your core stabilization system. As a pharmacist, I'll also mention this. Poor shoulder mobility is one of the overlooked contributors to chronic neck and upper back pain that drives unnecessary pain medication use in older adults. How to perform it. Stand an arm's length from a wall. Place your fingertips lightly on the wall at shoulder height. Slowly draw large backward circles with your shoulder. Not just your arm, your entire shoulder girdle. 5 circles backward, then 5 forward. Then drop your arm, shake it gently, and repeat on the other side. The key is the backward direction. Most daily activities move our shoulders forward. This reverses that pattern. We're halfway through, and I want to flag something before movement 3. Most of my patients, when I described what this next movement does to the brain, didn't believe me until I showed them the MRI data.
Movement 3. Single leg standing with eye tracking, or katashi tachi. This is the movement I promised you at the start, and I want to be precise about why it's number 3. Standing on one leg while slowly moving your eyes to track a moving object, a finger, a slow pendulum, anything, simultaneously challenges your vestibular system, your proprioception, and your oculomotor system. That triple system challenge is exactly what the brain responds to by building new tissue. A landmark study from the University of Illinois found that balance training that includes eye movement components increases gray matter volume in the cerebellum and prefrontal cortex, the brain regions responsible for movement control, decision-making, and fall prevention. We're talking about growing brain tissue, not slowing the loss, actually reversing it. Japanese elders incorporate this naturally, standing on one leg while pouring tea, tracking birds in a garden. But we can formalize it into a 90-second daily practice. How to perform it. Stand near a wall or chair. Lift 1 foot slightly off the ground. Even 1 inch counts. Now slowly move your extended index finger from left to right in front of your face, tracking it with your eyes while keeping your head still. Do this for 20 to 30 seconds per leg. Beginners, keep your lifted foot touching the standing leg for support. As you progress, increase the gap between feet and the range of your eye movement. This is genuinely one of the most powerful anti-aging exercises that nobody in Western fitness culture is talking about. Movement 2 is where Japanese longevity culture diverges most dramatically from Western fitness thinking, and it has everything to do with how you use your breath. Movement 2. Deep spinal twist with breath. Nejiri undo. In Japanese movement culture, the spine is treated as the root of all vitality. Nejiri undo,
Rotational spinal movement is practiced slowly, deliberately, paired with controlled breathing. From a clinical standpoint, this is not mysticism. Spinal rotation maintains intervertebral disc hydration, preserves thoracic mobility, and, when paired with deep breathing, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, lowering cortisol and reducing systemic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is one of the primary drivers of physical decline after 65. This movement is literally anti-inflammatory. A 2023 meta-analysis in Age and Aging found that spinal mobility exercises performed 3 or more times weekly were associated with significant reductions in self-reported pain, improved walking speed, and lower markers of systemic inflammation in adults over 60. How to perform it? Sit in a sturdy chair, feet flat on the floor, back straight. Inhale deeply through your nose. Take a full 4 seconds. As you slowly exhale, taking 6 seconds, gently rotate your upper body to the right, letting your eyes follow your shoulder. Go only as far as comfortable. Inhale back to center. Exhale and rotate left. That's 1 rep. Perform 4 to 6 rotations per side. The breath timing is non-negotiable. It's what triggers the anti-inflammatory response. And now we come to movement number 1, the one that Japanese movement traditions have prioritized above all others, and the one that modern geriatric medicine is only just beginning to fully understand.
Movement 1. The most important floor-to-stand transition. Okiagari Koboshi. In Japan, there is a children's toy called Okiagari Koboshi, a round-bottomed doll that always rights itself when knocked over. The Japanese use this as a metaphor for resilience, and they've embedded the physical act it represents, getting up from the floor, into their daily movement culture. Japanese elders sit on the floor. They eat at low tables. They rise and lower themselves multiple times a day. And researchers tracking these populations noticed something remarkable. The ability to get up from the floor without using your hands was one of the strongest predictors of 10-year survival they had ever measured. A study published in the European Journal of Preventative Cardiology, tracking over 2,000 adults aged 51 to 80, found that those who could not sit and rise from the floor without support had a mortality rate 5 to 6 times higher than those who could. 5 to 6 times. That number stopped me when I first read it. This single movement tests your leg strength, core stability, flexibility, motor coordination, and cardiovascular fitness simultaneously. It is arguably the most comprehensive functional test that exists, and it's also trainable. How to perform it? Start seated in a chair. Practice lowering yourself slowly to the floor, using your hands as much as you need at first, and then rising back up, using progressively less hand support each week. If floor work is not yet accessible, practice the transition from a very low chair or ottoman instead. The movement pattern is what matters, not the height. Work toward 1 full floor-to-stand transition daily, using fewer support points each week. Within 30 days, most people see measurable improvement in how they feel rising from any surface. Now let me tell you the summary of complete 6-movement routine. Movement 6, grounding squat. Hold 10 to 30 seconds, once daily. Movement 5, tandem heel-to-toe walk, 20 steps, once daily. Movement 4, wall shoulder circles, 5 each direction, each arm, daily. Movement 3, single leg eye tracking, 30 seconds per leg, daily. Movement 2, deep spinal twist with breath, 4 to 6 reps per side, daily. Movement 1, floor to stand transition, 1 rep, daily.
Total time, approximately 5 to 8 minutes, best performed in the morning.
6 movements, most under 2 minutes each, and together they address every major driver of physical decline that we see in aging adults: balance, spinal health, brain function, lower body strength, shoulder mobility, and the single most powerful functional predictor of longevity science has ever found. Japan didn't discover a magic formula. They just never stopped moving, and they moved with intention. You can start today. You don't need a gym, equipment, or a perfect body. You just need 5 minutes and the willingness to begin. If this was useful to you, hit the like button. It takes 1 second and it helps us reach more people who need this information. And if you want to go deeper, we just put out a video on the 5 foods Japanese centenarians eat every single day. It pairs with this routine in a way that the research says is genuinely synergistic. That video is right here. I'm glad you're here. Take care of that body. It's the only one you've got.